Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the Nashville movement, a coalition for racial and economic justice in Tennessee. And we have with us to talk about the Nashville movement, Mr. KCaldwell, who is one of the members of the Nashville movement, as well as Mrs. CNeito1, also a member of the coalition concerned about immigrants and refugees in the state of Tennessee. And of course, both of them will give us some additional information about these specific organizations. And of course, Mr. Caldwell and Mr. CNeito, let me welcome both of you to the show this morning.
Thank you, Dr. Haney.
And to tell both of you how delighted we are to have you here, and especially to give us an opportunity to present to the Nashville community this new coalition that you've formed, that has been formed, Mr. Caldwell, dealing with social and economic justice for those who are on the outside in a real sense of society. Let's start off, Mr. Caldwell, by having you to give us some information about your background, your education, and of course Mrs. CNeito will give us some additional information in reference to her background and education, and then we'll get into some specifics in reference to the movements that the aspects of the movements that the two of you represent.
Okay. On my background, I'm born and raised right here in Nashville. Grew up in public school system. I first came into community organizing was when I worked at for Metro, and we got the labor union was attempting to come into Metro housing, and so we were able to help bring SEIU into Metro housing. We saw the immediate effects of when we signed a memorandum of understanding. We got like $3 on the hour just upon signing that, and that's when I really began to see the real power in collective bargaining in union terms, but coming together to put our voices together. After that, I worked with an African American group called Ad Hoc Committee for Equity. We were working on the disparities in No Child Left Behind and how it was underfunded. So Reverend Henry Blaze was actually the chair of that, and so as we were working on that, our governor gutted TennCare and cut about 235,000 of the sickest and most vulnerable Tennesseans from that role. We went to an organization, the Nashville Peace and Justice Center, and worked with them about doing a sit-in to really demonstrate how we were opposed to these cuts from a governor who had stated that he had run on the platform that he could restore TennCare, and just to gut it. And so that sit-in lasted 77 days, longest sit-in in U.S. history in a government facility. And we went on to, continue to work for the people that, with Bridges to Care and that type of thing. I was later employed with the Nashville Peace and Justice Center, became the director of that organization, and in August of '07, I launched out to create an African American-led organization to really deal with the issues that most adversely impacted our communities. I did that with Dr. Sekou Franklin. He teaches political science at MTSU, and so he and I began to develop this organization. And our first event was the Gina 6. We organized around that with another organizer, Deirdre Reed, and the Village Church, Reverend Stevens, and we wound up taking 10 buses down to Gina, Louisiana, and with TSU was just doing a tremendous job, and Fisk, and we brought in Reverend James Lawson to come and do some civil disobedience trainings at Fisk, so that the students wouldn't, would be indoctrinated, understand what this was about.
Very good. And of course, Mr. CNeito, about your background and how you became involved in this over the last minute or so that we have here.
Yeah, well, I'm an immigrant from Bogota, Colombia. I came here 7 years ago after going through some really hard times back in my country because economic recession and my parents not being able to have a job. And I lived in Chicago for those 7 years. I went to school there and graduated from Northeastern Illinois University with a communications and sociology degree. So many of these things affect me personally and have affected my family. So that's how I got involved first in trying to make sure that all students can get an education, and later on with the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition, of which now I'm the public awareness coordinator. Tennessee has a shorter history of immigration, and there's been definitely a negative reaction to these changes in the community. So I'm working hard to advocate for the immigrant community and a welcoming community.
Good. And so both of you have been deeply involved in the real sense in terms of social activity and social action. Of course, when you come back during our second segment, we'll give you an opportunity to talk about the various organizations that you represent. Of course, we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.